advocate wholesome deeds from the mother as part of the education to the child. For those of you who are willing to do so, especially for the child's wisdom, I think it is important to chant Manjushri mantra. If you want the child to be compassionate and kind, then you can chant 10,000 to 100,000 times of 6-syllable mantra. Then the child would definitely be very different than other children. That's one aspect. How about after the baby's birth then? In India, back then, such as in Sikhism and different Hinduism and different religions and different customs, there are traditions of performing birth ceremonies as birthday parties, such as when Prince Siddhartha, when he was just born, his parents actually opened up the reservoir and started giving and offering food to different poor people. How about nowadays? Nowadays, when people have birthday parties or celebrating the birth of a child, what they usually do is to kill many sentient beings and put them on the table. I think if you really want the child to have a better life, it is important to accumulate merits for the child rather than killing sentient beings, because it's difficult to know what the child's life is going to be. If you start the child's life by killing other sentient beings. Nowadays, many people also say that if the child grew up in a family where the parents fight a lot and quarrels a lot, then it brings lots of negative effects onto the child. So, whenever the child is growing or educating a child in a family, it is important to bring Buddhism into that child's life. People nowadays only like to, or children nowadays, they really enjoy different technologies. They like to watch animations, cartoons, which are not really healthy, which have contents that doesn't really have the right mindfulness, or it doesn't have the right view. For those of you who are capable, I think it's important to bring Buddhism into the children's life. For example, stories from Buddhism, stories of bodhisattvas and Buddhas. In general, stories that brings positive effects. Those are quite important. For those of you who are capable of doing so, I advocate that you should really invest into making cartoons, good cartoons for children. Recently, people really don't have the right value. That is because they don't have the right view. For example, in China, there's a TV show where there are two girls conversing. One is a graduate from Oxford University, and the other one is a girl who's really into plastic surgery. In fact, she spent 4 million RMB into plastic surgery. So the girl graduated from Oxford University asked the girl who's really into plastic surgery, said, why would you spend so much money onto superficial appearance? Because after 100 years, people would not remember you as an extremely beautiful woman, but remember you as someone who are tormented by different emotions and made plastic surgeries. The girl who had plastic surgery, she replied that, well, who cares what people think after 100 years? I live in the present moment. After hearing that story, after people finished watching it, they actually felt that the girl who did the plastic surgery was right. Living in the moment was right. So I think that is also because the child was not brought up from the right value system, because the child was not brought up of a right view. Therefore, it is important to educate the children through cartoons and animations. For those of you who know how to do it, I think you should really invest your time into this. It is very helpful for children, for the next generation, for the health of their mentality. Please don't push this task onto your llama, because the llama doesn't know how to make cartoons and make animations. This kind of teaching is very important. Through university researches from the West, they actually had the research result that children should also practice meditation. In fact, we see that many Buddhist parents who practice, whenever they're practicing meditation, their children are just running around disturbing their meditation. And the parents may have a sense of anger. Why don't you let me into samadhi? This is... For some of those children, are really difficult to meditate. During our meditation, in fact, I was thinking about maybe lots of our volunteers are quite busy right now. So during the 3 minutes, I was very much busy in thinking of the others. Maybe in appearance that I was meditating, but in fact I was thinking about other things. So if my mind was still wondering, don't even mention about children. However, I think it is still important to practice meditation. When children are still young, between 3 to 4, 6 or 7, they could learn lots of different things. They could, because those kind of knowledge could go in their life for a very long time. Maybe reading sutras and chanting mantras are considered as religious actions, but meditation is not. Meditation nowadays is well accepted by our society, by many entrepreneurs and many companies. So I think for children, it is very important to, 1, to practice meditation, and 2, to accept valuable knowledge such as Dizigui and different classical texts, as well as three is watch cartoons that has the right view. So, three aspects: one, meditation; two, cartoons with right value; and three, valuable knowledge and classics. After growth of the child, the next step would be a growth and education of a child. The next step would be marriage and building their own family. In fact, in Buddhism, when we talk about weddings and marriages, there are a lot of emphasis on vegetarianism and not to abandon your on the basis of not to abandon your own custom, the custom of your own community. Let's think about it. Yes, the wedding day is one of the most special days in your life. However, on that special day of your life, how could you kill others for your own happiness? On that very valuable day, it's like a war zone for different other sentient beings, other animals, because of your wedding ceremony. Because, well, for those of you who are here for the Vajrasattva assembly, Dharma assembly, I think it is important to recall how you spent that day. If you've killed many sentient beings, it's important to really confess your downfalls. Otherwise, it's hard to say how your next life would be. I understand that becoming a vegetarian is not easy. There are lots of habitual patterns that's still embedded in your mind stream. But I think it's workable because last year and the year before last year, many Tibetan celebrities during their wedding day, they actually promoted vegetarian meal, vegetarian ceremony. Despite that, in Tibetan culture, there's actually a custom of eating meat, usually. Back in 2011, Prince William, who actually had the wedding, a vegan wedding. Yesterday was a wedding of Prince Harry, who didn't have a pure vegan wedding ceremony, but he had a rather humble wedding ceremony. Back at the time of Prince William's wedding, he requested his wedding should be vegan. Of course, there are many different elements. For example, environmentalism as well as health and cherish the animals' lives. From the different elements or different conditions, he actually had a grand wedding, grand vegan wedding, actually. In fact, if you feel that a vegetarian wedding, a vegan wedding is quite embarrassing as Chinese, because we usually have meals with meat and fish and all that, you can talk about the reference and take reference of Prince William. A prince actually had a vegan wedding. So what are you ashamed of? The daughter of previous President Clinton, her name's Chelsea, she also had a vegetarian wedding. Of course, many people become a vegetarian, a vegan, or have vegetarian weddings, promote vegetarianism. They actually have their own reasons. For example, environmental protection and health reasons, and cherish animals' life. Many different reasons. So if we can not only combine those into our lives, as well as embed the Buddhism's philosophy of compassion into your wedding, this is something that we should all rejoice. For example, nowadays when we promote the vegetarian wedding, we as an organization, we actually give out Buddha statue to those of newlyweds who promote or who actually have vegetarian weddings. I think if those of you who can change our habitual patterns and habitual way of thinking and turn into vegetarianism and even become a vegan, this is a progress of humanity. Today, there are many people who are posting "I love you" because in Chinese, May the 20th actually sounds like "I love you" in Chinese. So many people who are posting these messages, in fact, well, it's not as effective as you actually do something to say that you are compassionate and you have love and kindness, such as becoming a vegetarian or don't eat other sentient beings' life. Because how can you show that you love others by taking their lives away and eat their flesh? I'm not forcing you to make a change. But I'm saying we should present all of those objective facts as Buddhists, and we should analyze it and in such a way you actually could have all the facts in front of you and you can make the choice. So this is on the wedding aspect. Whenever you are getting married and towards a happy life, you should also care about other sentient beings' life and not just only yours. For those of you who already conducted misdeeds or who can't really change your own environment at this moment, at least you should really confess. It is difficult to live within a family where everyone else is a meat eater. But you should at least try to learn to be more flexible in your action. However, at the same time, be very assertive in your own value, in your own view, so that you can get along well with others in harmony. The next aspect is working, in your work and career. In terms of work, I think we should learn not to give up your family life when you are working and dedicated to your career at the same time. As Buddhists, you should be able to get along with everyone, especially your family. So after you become a Buddhist, you should have more enthusiastic, more care to your family. At the same time, to your colleagues, and have more enthusiasm towards your work. The Buddha actually taught that the mundane world actually doesn't get into conflict with our Buddhism practices. As in the sixth patriarch also stated that within our life as well as in the mundane activities, there are all the right view and the right activities. So if you have the right mind, if you have the right aspiration, whatever you do, whatever trivial thing you do, as long as you have that mind of benefiting others, then as a Buddhist practitioner, it doesn't matter what kind of a mundane or trivial aspect that you're conducting, as long as your mind is there, your mind is in focus, is concentrating, then all the actions are beneficial. Otherwise, if you're just performing a certain action, such as chanting mantra and counting all your mala beads, and you're performing all this kind of formalities, but without a mind of kindness, how can you cultivate the kindness to others? How can you benefit others? The most important bottom line is that you should always have a kindness towards others. You should have your own principle. And 2, you should be responsible to your work. And 3, you should also be responsible and have care towards your family members. It's important to conduct your work with right mindfulness. In Vipassana, where it talks about without right mindfulness, how could you without knowing the rules and how people in the mundane world conduct their activities, how could you benefit sentient beings? So that's work, and now let's talk about aging. Aging shows impermanence. There's a Chinese poem where it says that setting sun is infinitely beautiful, except it is near dusk. It is near dusk. Of course, it sounds a bit negative. This is written by a poet named Li Shangyin, and although it sounds negative, it may sound negative, but it really points out that this is the truth of impermanence. I was thinking yesterday on the way home, and I was thinking that everything changed so fast and it's so impermanent. People who are aging, they usually like life in comfort or have more comfort in life. But I think when you get certain age, it is important to adapt a different lifestyle of chanting mantras, of practice. Because you never know when impermanence will dawn on you, which means you never know when you would die. There are a few things you could do when you're old or getting old. First one is that to have faith. People who have faith are not afraid of death. Recently, there's a biologist who lived up to 104 years old. He was very unhappy that he actually lived up to 104 years old. He was really lonely for the last 20 years. He said he should have died 20 years ago. Therefore, he was really upset about it, and he decided to go to Switzerland and he died over there by medical injection. Compared to lots of achieved Buddhist masters who may also die around the age of 100, but they died in peace. People without faith, even if they have lots of wealth, they may die in agony still. So it's important when you're aging, you should have faith. Either you can adapt the mantra of Amitabha or many different mantras. Many Tibetan elderlies, their only aspiration before their death was to finish chanting 100 million times mantra of 6-syllable mantra. So they try to say that I only have 300 rounds left and then I can finish. That's the only wish that they have. Except, other than the Tibetan seniors, lots of the seniors in Han area, they don't have lots of security. In fact, the only thing that they can rely on is their children. They would call their children that I'm dying, even if they're just having a simple cold. They would request their children to come back right away so that they can be seen and taken care of by their children, even if their children are abroad. Right after the children get back to their bedside, their sickness are all vanished. So that's death. Well, after we're talking about death, it's important to talk about after death, which is about how to have the eternal happiness. Talking about eternal happiness, which is liberation, there's actually a ceremony in Tibet that is dedicated to help the dead to attain liberation as well. There's a professor from Harvard University's hospital where he said that, in his book, he said that lots of the current medical services, many doctors, they only study birth or life. They don't study death. They have no knowledge whatsoever about the 6 realms or about the samsara. But in Buddhism, we're actually quite proficient in such knowledge about life after death, about what happens after death. So there are many things that you can do, such as offering lambs, such as chanting mantras and dedicate merit to them after people died. This is good for their eternal liberation, which is the eternal happiness. But nowadays, people are not like that at all. They don't care about the past one's eternal happiness. They care about something that they can hold on to, such as the ash diamond, the diamond that's made of the carbon of the deceased ash. What should we do instead? I think we should do something that's more meaningful, such as liberating lives on their behalf, such as chanting mantras for them and dedicating marriage to them, and so on. There are many Buddhist countries who are conducting such services and conducting such activities. In Tibet, the custom is to chant 49 days chant mantras and sutras for the deceased one for 49 days. At least 7 to 8 ordained people chant for them. Usually, the first year, right after the person's death, it is 49 days of chanting, and then the second year at that time is 3 days of chanting and dedicated marriage to them. I see that in Han area, on the day of remembering the deceased ones, there are many people who would burn different paper and different things to dedicate that to the deceased one. I asked some people who completely deny the existence of life after death, but they would still burn paper on that day to dedicate that to the deceased one. And I asked them, why did you do so? They would just simply reply, well, this is habit. One thing that I really, one teaching that I really like, and every time when I listen to that, it brings me different feelings. That teaching is that the karma is inconceivable. There are people who eat a bowl of noodles. Then this person A could really enjoy that bowl of noodle, but person B would completely hate it. And some people could be really wealthy, and the other person could be very poor and even ugly and have lots of obstacles in life. So every sentient being have very different karma, have very different way of perceiving life. That kind of karma is so inconceivable. By just observing our life, it is not difficult to believe in that. So I think all of us should have a right view about this world. We should have the right value. As Buddhists, we should at least to understand that there is karma. Karma is real. That is the bottom line of becoming a Buddhist. If you can do all that, if you have the right view and conducting all this, I think your life could be very happy and very well-rounded. Well, today I think we spent a little bit extra time. I don't think I wasted too much of your time. I know many of you who are sitting here are tired. Alrighty. Okay. If you're not tired, I will just talk more later. But today we'll stop here. And today I would like to take this opportunity to show my appreciation to all our volunteers. Thank you so much. So let's dedicate marriage together. Kaya
Samdo Shanchibaran Barasanjibshan. Shojagale Janama Janila Badi, Jirayon, the Baragera, Shanchivishan, Donsha, Gelavata, Sanjay Tijir of the Conversation. Shoji Simchana Ganam Janila Badi, the Mil Divaragiram, Doa Ganjan, Juji, Donamana, Tambarajar Jareva, the Barabsho, Shanchivisha, the Sulajan, Doa Ganda Jiva, Dembaragira, Serava Ganda. Chempo Jivana, Data Dana of the Jorasho, Yelava Ganji, Jason, Hope Jeradev, Zambu, Japan, Zobsinaja, such a map Japan, Million Daba, Tata Manim and Jimila Jobarasho, Tai Gatala, Lobjanakala, Javaman Data, Mayakanam, died, O I can get Namachazambara, Tamjarakata, Dakim Jutando. Deshambar Shalar of the Dev Shantu Simna Namayam Jilmagera, Deepak on the Madapara Jerpata, Teta Mali on the Shambarev. Letam Yamo the Jelena live to John Jitin Namzaya, Chetarapa Mochima Cherpapshan, Yala Namkaratopa Metarapshan, Janga Jundam Shonama Jazambarang and something a lot of the Javarev Shile, Deva Talam Doa Kanigolaja, Loa Tamjalana Pambarapshan, Shanchibishapa Yosas of Shiraja, Simchan and Dakib Jotam Tambaram Jib, Zambo Japa. Raptanaja, Mawam Kalabaganda, Jabarag, Dakim Jotam, Somberagam Chalaba, Tata, Tatam, Joparasho, Litang, Namatana, Simji Jam, Jopa, Tata, Molamaji, Devshan, Dala Pamper, Dopo, Dropo, Zambu, Jopar, the Tumbanam, Teta, Tata, Taparasho, Teta, Takinamaya, Mayo. Sardi Jim Koram Gombo Namangun Samantha the game Yalavata Mawam Karapak and the Majo Teta Layam Chopa Jerev Jaravanam Jetamba Chuns and a job Shantivish Chopak and then our Shireb Zampop Chopa number of Jawaya Mawam Karapak and the Jeperev Chapatam Jalatayam Korvanam Sonama Yeshi Taganam of Zalani Taptan Shira Tanzanam Tarata Yondan Ganjam of Zalam Zotajer Dalachetana Daniel Janam de Jantar Samji Makab Sarjanama Sarjeri Wina Jibala Shanchibishapa Chojam Tower of Jer Mali Tamjula Shozaya Chatsaman Chola Disaman Sanye Sardi Jamso Janam Jamso Dam Kalapa Jamsura Chojar of them Sonchi Yalla Jamso Dakaraji Java Kaya Laganam Bam Doa Ganji Samba Chivjanaya Sardi Sola Tatam Jibarev Disamashapa Yala Tamjala Dam Korlo Sarnamaraptam Koravaye Deta Kaya Soya Mazalala Loy of Jetar Demji Mawam Karapa Tamjalam Jibaraya Kachi Chiki Darjam Jibarabira Kayam Karapati Samansateta Kachi and Chashi Jina Jibarabshan Disamashapa May Sange Gan Deta Kachi Chila Dagita Dada Deta Kana Joyala Yamara Kerbanam Darat Jimji Kayan Tisamataka Jankolaba Deta Delachitam Dang Barajaba Deta Mali Shonam Tamjalada Yalavata Janama Kolamji Kayam Action Jitin Dormanam Action Chibaram Baram Tamjam Kolo Koran Yanganam Dipar of the Jamtatan Gombo Kanji Ronda Damcho Kandam Yerva Zanchalaton Namada Kani Goye Tapa Tata Kanda Yondan of Shopaton Namada Kanda Chapa Shamba Takato Kani Gawam Sunamado Dagam Chapam Parakerpa Yeshit of a share of a tap Tanzana Doktaki, Shanchabaton Namayanta Perevshela. Late on the Mayosa Tavsela Jam, Yomoton Namakandam Jumperevshela, Daki on Namato Miller of Shelaja, Zambu Shopaton Zoperev, Janama Jamso, number of Shelaja, Simtila Jamso, Tana, number of Chunama Jamso, Ratan Tom Shelaja, Yeshi Jamso, Rata Toperevshel. Chapa Jamso, number of Shelaja, Mulama Jamso, Yosef Zoperevshela, Sardi Jamso, Ratan Chopshelaja, Kalabadiam Suramajo, Jabarabje, Kayanti Samashapa, Jalavaya, Shanchip, Molam Chetanama, Zambo, Shapip, Shanchip Sardine, they come the Daki Malays Operabje. Jalava can get it, Tawaba, Kangamana, Ganda, Zanjip Sham, Kiba, the Tanson, Parashapa, Gavan, the Tagatamjala after Yerjanam the Jam, Chopinam the Janam Yontaba, Moa Zambo, Kipa, Chandrava, Tender of the Jan de Danson Parasha. Kanege was on push up, Sharam, Jahalajina, Molamaka Parabjera, Mawa Karabak and Damajoar, Dave Shawa Malis Operabj, Shopat on them, Sayan, Majaraji, Yundan, Jam, the Zomi Parabsho, Shopat, the Melapalani, Tetam Chalawam, Tamjalam Sarvarabjer. Namkim Tarte Kirpacha Zambara, Simcha Malim Tayan Devjanande, Shatamale Tanyamon Tajaraba, Dake Molaman Tayan de Zamo. Koyam Shochi Jonaman Taiba, Rinchan Dev Jalavan La Pala, La Dama Yev Devan Chonamaja, Janga Daniel Kalpa Paravavi, Ganga Moa Japon, the Tuni, Shanchaman Chokra, Jizara Moshan, Lanchi Samia Talpa Telpana, Sonamantambam Jordan Dangerero. Ganga Zamsulamulam and the Tabi, Dina and Zon Tamjala Power Ranger, Dina Jobongamba Pava Yana, no one tie, they are Demirato. Tetanya Paranya, they were so Massim, the Rayan Teta Lekbara, Kandab Zambo, and Chandra, Tetarambo, Mototive Jamanger, Samilangapo, Taka, Dipanama, Ganga, Niki, one give sheep at Deep Zambo, Chupan, the Julana, near the Malay, also Shamanger. Zitan Sanamada, Ritan Katanam, Dambaram, Jereb, the Tamartama, Botima, Heaven, Jitan, Sambo, Kanam, Chuparamger, Shanchivishan, one drone, the Demir and Rose, Sony, Simjan, and Hampshire, Dem de Shanchivas, Jim, Gorlora, Takor, Danamadetam, Jipa, Damjalatal, Kayam, Zampu, Shupa, Molamanda, Chawa, Tuntamalona, Nambaramamba, Sardin, Shanjam, Jolam, Zonia, Majaj. Jamhola Chataram Jambada, I can the Zampote on Division and Day. Teta can get you so don't love Sherer, Gavan, the Takatam Jala after Tis a Majapa, Jala, Tamjala Jim, Moakan, Jordan, Abade, Daka gave us a the Canadian, Zampo Chusher after Morevje, Danam Chevi, Tifshala Gerbana, Japan, Tamjala Tanam Shasate, Monsamana one time, Tentone, Deva changes under after. There's only no Molam the Tajan, Tamjala Malim, Mundan Gervarasho, Teta Malim, Taki, Osakam, Jitan and Chuchula Simpson and Bambaravje, Gelivim, Kimkara Zanjan, Gava, Tira, Pamotam, and Tamzili, now I'm the Gelivim on Samantha, Montambayam, Daki, Tovisho. Okay, no one after near Chalpa, Mambushi, one to Jayim, Loye, Tochi, Shochan, Zaya, Simjan, La Bamba, Mamboye, Zambu, Shopo, Molam, and Dumbaye, Kiwa, Jones of the Kim, Chasaba, Din and Dovi, Molam, Gavan, Kachi, Chikim, Tanjan, Jorvarsho, Kaya, Zambu, Shopan, Dangopim, Sonamantai, Damba, Cantote, Doa, Dingle, Chawar, Shawana, Okolami, Bin, Erabato, Parasho. Molam Japon, the Tom Chocos, I'm dying, I can love him, should I jump? Can the Zambo Jam push on Tabati? And so on in a Malito. Burbs and Lavatan, Junior Mandira, then Burbs and Lavatan, Gindana Mapsulan, then Burbs and Lavatin, Jetara, Monamanda Paresho, Diada, Benson and Jaya, Wambodana, so Bamidi, Turjit and Germanjet, Panamara, Lera, Banamberger, Antolon, Ripa, what she, Jimmy Benzo, Javla, Sorovan, David, Hijira, Gombush, and Labanyan Lage. Tina Chitam di Parabshin Yellow Mam Sorta et on the Meran Sagamelet Kim the Pam Joe, Sasama Yellow, Yamsom, Jelly, Gelabshin, Bopo, Shipas, the Militants, no one, Yamtagamjo, Tapa, Yashi, no one, Chokos, Sopshan Hamo, Deepa, Yam Deraton, Drum Keep, Zizan, Mala, Soravand, Kasim and Durji, she served and Chalim, the Pim, Jim, Kolocham, Yim the Giant, Tamsi, Samay, Tamdro, Pam, Jamni Jaravi, Jealous, more than Tabdan, Tamjo, Jamsum, Nint, Yamela Laxam, Demba, Monday, Pagin, Baraji, Lapasam, Narame, Zambaya, Neighbor, Soji, Nindara, Yongan, Tatav, Shedim, Shavi, Telanji, Taptanam Shagum Tarab Jeep Jashi